for you to choose from. And if you've had your eye on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, listen up. Come and see us at Woody Anderson Ford today, and you'll drive home with no payments for 90 days, plus get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months and $1,000 in bonus cash. This is good, and it bears repeating. Come get your best year-end deal on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, and you'll keep your cash for the holidays and make no payments for 90 days. You'll also get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, we're going to throw in $1,000 holiday bonus cash. The year end is here, and we've got the deals that make it worth the wait. With your good credit, these offers end December 31st, only at Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
The company is Eagle Masonry and Insulation, but did you know they're also Eagle Landscaping and Dirt Work? Eagle can take care of all your landscaping needs, including irrigation, sod work, and planting, both plants and trees. On the dirt work side, Eagle can grade and build your pads, haul dirt in or out, and even do erosion control. Philip Love and his team can do it all for you. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
Are you tired of power outages disrupting your life? It's time for a Generac standby generator from Current Electrical. Storms may rage outside, but inside your family's powered up. So why choose Current Electrical for your generator needs? 1, we offer a wide range of models to suit every budgeted energy requirement. 2, our project managers handle every step of the process: power, gas, permitting, and inspections. 3, our certified technicians install your generator with precision, ensuring peace of mind. Don't wait for the next blackout. Call 256-880-1880 or visit us online at jetsuperstore.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time, or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. This hour is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, Alabama's F-150 Superstore. Welcome to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977.
That's how I roll. And I'm not going to drink and drive anymore.
That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Wes and Steve.
Welcome into a Friday live edition. Yes, it's straight up 5 o'clock here on December the 6th, 2024. Like me telling you exactly what time it is lets you know that I'm live. I am live. It is a Friday, so it's just me and Brian here for the next hour.
What else do you need?
Yeah, of course. What else do you need?
Well, you know, Wes works hard. He needs a day off.
Don't we all? I'm working tomorrow as well over at UAH. Is the studio at 3 o'clock on the knob there in the corner? Not on your board.
It will be.
Okay. All right. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
That and program 1 for those of you who are like things that are inside baseball. Yes. And running about 3 o'clock on program 1.
Anyway, we are walking you up to the American Athletic Conference Championship game. And that is the Tulane Green Wave taking on the Army Black Knights. And on the subject of that, we are going to give away, I am going to give away, although it wasn't just me, but we did figure out who our winner is for the Army-Navy tickets that we do every year, and we'll have the winner on here after our first break. So that's when we're going to do it. And also, if you missed it from earlier in the week, Trevor Matich helped us break down immediately on Tuesday the latest college football rankings. I tell you also the last edition of the college football playoff rankings that come out at 11 a.m. You'll be able to hear it right here. And myself and Drew DeArmond will be here Sunday morning. Our usual spot for the Bama Recap Show will turn into a college football playoff preview show, no matter who's in or who's out on Sunday. So feel free to join us on Sunday. But that committee in particular made me want to hear once again from the great philosopher Mike Leach on committees. I mean, if you really think about the National Football League, Major League Baseball, the NBA, just all the major sports, the NHL, any committees on those fronts? Well, heck, even FCS, Division II, Division III, there's no committees there. The only place, well, you know what? I'm stealing the thunder of the great philosopher, the late, great Mike Leach.
Establishes something, and that's a very clever approach. I mean, that's such a brilliant approach. That's why everybody does it that way. You know, I mean, nobody does it that way. I mean, if we were so smart, wouldn't all the other sports say, I know what, let's have a committee, you know, because why not? Because, you know, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, I mean, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, I mean, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk, we could hang out at dinner, and then we'll decide which 4 teams should go. Because you know why? We don't need to solve this on the field because we're the ones that know. And then, so, I mean, you know, if we're going to do it that way, we should just ask them at the beginning of the season, you know, just go ahead and you guys vote on it, figure out 1, 2, 3, and 4, and why even have the games? To me, I mean, that's not a playoff. There's nothing playoff about it. And this is even if we make it. Even if we make it, my thoughts don't change. I mean, how can you call it a playoff when there's 4 teams? Conference champions don't even necessarily make the playoffs because you know why? Because the committee knew better.
So that was obviously the old system. Now that conference champs do, but a man that is ahead of his time, the late great. In fact, we're sneaking up on the 2-year marking of his passing, believe it or not. But Mike Leach, he wanted 64 teams in the college football playoff. We're sneaking up on it, though, Mike.
I think you could solve nearly all these questions if they had an expanded playoff system. I think 64 teams. But I think the minimum is 16. If you had 16 teams, then I think we could settle a whole lot of these issues. You know, it doesn't matter what the East Coast or Los Angeles or anybody in between thinks. All of a sudden, there's 16 teams. Oh, geez, number 16 beat number 4. Well, screw number 4. Number 4 is out, you see, because number 16 got them. You know, I mean, that'd pretty well solve all of it, wouldn't it? And then 32, you could easily do 32. And then the other thing that I think college foolishly does is they just give the NFL December. I mean, there's no sense in that. I mean, you could be having playoff games there in December and everybody could potentially live happily ever after. And then the other thing is you could even sort the schedule in such a way that you have an off week 1 week. Half of America has an off week 1 week. The other half has an off week the next week, and you never have to play somebody after the off week. You know, the most stunning thing, and I give this lecture probably 3 times every year, but then college football says, They scratch their head and they give a really befuddled, mixed up look, and they get a really screwy expression on their face. Like, well, how can that possibly be? I mean, how can we do that? I mean, how is it possible that you could actually have a playoff format in college football? Well, gee, I don't know. Let's start with we can go down to the local city park, and I'll bet you somebody that handles youth football could tell you how to do something like that. Well, that's too low of a scale. Let's move it up a little bit. Okay. How about high school from a major state? Let's say Texas, Florida, or California. Let's see how they do it. Okay, let's see. These guys, they win a certain number of games. They have a qualification. Okay, now, boom, they're in the playoffs. But they don't have just 2 or 4 teams or something. Hell no, because they want everybody to have fun and enjoy this playoff system. Okay, so then they play each other, and everybody's on the edge of their seat going to wait and see if this team's going to beat that team or going to beat the other team. And so then, in the end, there's occasionally a debate. If only this team hadn't lost to that team in this round, then this team could have won the whole thing. And that's perhaps true. But the thing that is indisputable is that at the end of the gauntlet, this team came out on number 1, and there's no debate whatsoever who's state champion. Then you can go to Division 3. Let's see, how do they do it? Oh, they do it the exact same way. Okay, now the suspense is really starting to get thick because, Division 2 might do it differently. No, in fact, they don't. They do it exactly, boys and girls, like Division 3 does. And then now they've changed the initials because in this era of political correctness, they love to change initials and make it proper to say things one way instead of another. And I forget what the initials is. But then they go to 1AA. Okay, at 1AA. How do they do it in 1AA? 1AA. I mean, because that's getting closer to us, and we're really sophisticated because we're major 1A. How did they do it in 1AA? You know what? They have a playoff format, and they play it, and they figure it out. And then, okay. Well, they're all below us. Okay, what about above us? The NFL. And everybody, that just makes you feel good to roll those initials off your. It's like Huckleberry Finn said. Some days I just have to swear to get a good taste in my mouth. Okay, so then NFL. Now that makes my mouth feel good because that's the best and they're the top. Let's see here. How did they figure out their champion? Well, they in fact organize a playoff system. And how many teams are in there? A hell of a lot more than 4. And then they sort it all out. And then they have one battle after the next. And at the end, guess what? They sort out a champion. And it's called the Super Bowl. And there's not interest diminished because people are captivated by the playoffs. And the biggest sporting event every year in the history of the world is the Super Bowl. Okay, any questions?
Oh, I miss Mike Leach. Man, oh, man. By the way, Division 2, since I'm D2 guy, the defending champs, the Harding Bison, are taking on the top seed overall in Ferris State. And we mentioned it yesterday when we had Antonio Langham on yesterday. Valdosta State takes on Virginia Union. And the fine folks from southern Georgia are up here in North Alabama. Who knows? They might be listening because we do have some basketball for you tomorrow over on Talk Radio WZZN. I'll be over on campus at UAH as the Chargers take on the Blazers of Valdosta State. The women will tip at 2. The men will follow at 4. Be sure and download our app because we will have that on the Charger part, the Charger logo, and you just hit that. But you can also listen over on Talk Radio WZZN because tomorrow we've got the Big 12 championship game leading into the SEC championship game, leading into the ACC championship game. So a full day of championship football for you right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And those champions will get those automatic berths into the college football playoffs new formula, and we'll figure out the 12 in front of us. All right, I'll tell you what, on the other side, we're going to give away some tickets to the Army-Navy football game. So let's go ahead and take an early time out. It is time to give away some tickets on the other side.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Lots of wise and well-informed car buyers wait all year long for this time of year because they know year-end deals are worth the wait. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. We've got 700 Fords for you to choose from. And if you've had your eye on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, listen up. Come and see us at Woody Anderson Ford today, and you'll drive home with no payments for 90 days, plus get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months and $1,000 in bonus cash. This is good, and it bears repeating. Come get your best year-end deal on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, and you'll keep your cash for the holidays and make no payments for 90 days. You'll also get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, we're going to throw in $1,000 holiday bonus cash. The year end is here, and we've got the deals that make it worth the wait. With your good credit, these offers end December 31st, only at Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
If you work in a dangerous or logistically intense industry, you know good training can be a challenge. There are training costs, safety concerns, and difficulty replicating real-world scenarios. There's a better way used right now in the Army and in all our armed services to better prepare our heroes, and it's available to you in your organizations. Higher Echelon's Game Development Team is revolutionizing learning in military training, dangerous industry, STEM, and sports performance domains with cutting-edge virtual training that immerses you in lifelike scenarios without the cost and safety concerns for trainees. With Higher Echelon's game-based training, you'll experience realistic simulations, precision accuracy, and unparalleled safety. Higher Echelon founder Dr. Joe Ross is retired Army who played and later coached for the cadets and puts that experience to use. His team has been building cutting-edge virtual training environments for soldiers and clients for a decade. Higher Echelon, the name you can trust for advanced training solutions. Reach out at higherechelon.com to get your free consultation. Go higher and go Army.
Hi, my name is Dan Aldridge. I'm here to let you know about the Aldridge Law Firm and the soon-to-be-announced Legal Town Center. I've been practicing law in Alabama since 1984, and I also practice in Tennessee. And I'm from North Alabama, and I'm here to represent you and take care of your legal needs. For many of us, hiring an attorney is not high on the priority list and maybe a little scary. But it's something that we all need at some point. So by all means, do your homework. And if you need representation for car accident, wrongful death, medical malpractice, nursing home abuse, or estate planning, or any other matter, just give us a call at 256-534-3188. And you can email me at Dan, that is Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. God bless America.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that his mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
This segment of The Drive is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, located online at woodyAndersonFord.com with 2 locations, Hughes Road in Madison and Jordan Lane in Huntsville.
It is a Friday edition of The Drive, and we are walking you up to the AAC Championship game featuring the 9-3 Tulane Green Wave under head coach John Summerall, who went to Grissom High School in our area, taking on 10-1 Army, the 24th ranked team in the country, battling for a championship. And we are an Army affiliate and had an opportunity of giving away something we do every year, but especially with what Navy has done on the football field and what Army has done on the football field, this felt like a bigger deal of giving away these tickets. So I like to bring in Nicole, who, with these submissions that came in, a nomination for her father, Richard. And Nicole is our winner of the tickets. Nicole, how are you?
So good. How are you?
Doing very well. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well,
he's going to be so excited.
For those that I have yet to really go through the email publicly, but I mean, it was hard not to be moved by the email that you sent us more than anything, Nicole. And tell us a little bit about your dad and why you wanted to nominate him in the first place.
So the Army-Navy game has been like a huge thing for my dad for the longest time. He's always wanted to go. He actually served in the Army. He just retired officially this year. He was in the Old Guard, which is, they kind of do like the funerals and all, like specifically the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. And that was what I talked about mostly in the email. Like he lives and breathes the Army. He is so excited. He'll be so excited.
I mean, but you also mentioned about including being part of the inauguration for President Reagan as well.
He was, yes.
It sounds like he's done a lot of cool stuff.
He has, and it's really cool to look at all the stuff he even has, because he has like the medals and stuff from like the inaugurations. He's shown us at some point.
Gotcha. So has he ever been to an Army-Navy football game?
No, he has not.
Well, I mean, here we go. I can't thank you enough for the submission and the pictures as well. And there is no doubt. I can hear it in your voice, Nicole, on what this means.
I'm so excited. He has no idea.
So how are you going to break the news to Dad?
That is a good question.
Well,
I did not think I'd get this far.
So maybe formulate a plan here with how many brothers do you have?
I have 3 younger brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll probably work on it together.
Okay. All right. But we will get you the tickets, and I'd send us some photos too of
definitely.
Dad at the game as well. We can't thank you enough for the submission, and congratulations again, Nicole.
Thank you so much.
Got a big old hoo-ah from everybody here.
Yeah, definitely.
97.7 The Zone.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Nicole. And
thank you.
Let us know. I hope it's a little warm up there, warmer than it is down here in Alabama. But anyway, I thank you again for your submission, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
That is our winner there, and so you can that's cool right there, because you can hear it in her voice of what it's sent. And for again, he served in the Old Guard and was one of the guards that the Tomb and the Unknown Soldier, and that tomb is guarded 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 per year. And the other part of it was the fact that he did important funerals as well as inaugurations, including, as I mentioned, President Reagan as well. And just retired earlier this year. Richard, congratulations. It sounds like that is also been married for 33 years as well to his wife, Lori. And so congratulations to you, sir. And we appreciate all the submissions from you out there. And it was kind of cool to read all the stories. And it was a very tough decision of going through all the stories, but this one just kind of stood out a little different reading it. And so again, thank you there to Nicole, as they are our winners for the Army-Navy football game. So you'll be able to hear it, by the way, next weekend. So that's still on my bucket list of the Army-Navy football game. So, and by the way, I think that game's still on CBS. So we go through all this rigmarole during the regular season where you don't have to put up with, well, I say put up because I mean, so many of, I hear it so often, but was there any part of you actually that missed Gary Danielson? Anybody? Anybody out there? Maybe one, maybe two, maybe. Anyway, that Army-Navy football game will be on CBS television, but also right here with Rich DeMarco on the call and Dean Darling, as well as Tony Marino, part of the Army Black Knight Radio Network. And, of course, don't forget about Crawdaddy, as this week's show was actually just on WZZN TV because of Alabama basketball taking on some team from North Carolina. I hear they're starting a basketball program there in Chapel Hill, but they're still growing. Anyway, that was a big win for the Alabama basketball team. Really, both games, that Bama North Carolina game and then the Auburn Duke game, that was a lot of fun to watch there on Wednesday. A lot has been made about SMU. If they were to lose tomorrow night to Clemson, what that would do. Mark Kestisher had this to say on ESPN Radio.
What is the committee prioritizing here? Because that's what we've talked about all year. Is it's never going to be apples to apples when you look at the SEC and the Big Ten on one side, and then with the ACC and the Big 12, the Power Four. There's a huge gap there. You're never going to have that same schedule integrity of strength of schedule of top 25 teams you face. All SMU has done is raise in weight class from a group of five to a Power Five, and won virtually all their games. And the one game they lost was by 3 points to a team that was unranked, but ended up with 10 wins, BYU, and is now 17. So I have a sneaking suspicion they need to win to get in.
How about that right there? Of a sneaking suspicion that SMU and their resume does not look all that impressive, but they have to win to get in. I just think the committee likes this team a little too much. And that's why I am of the belief that if SMU were to lose, that it would bounce Bama. Now I'm not saying that's – although I will tell you, if you honestly go back and look at Alabama's performance in the Iron Bowl, you're telling me that is one of the 12 best teams in college football. Is that what you're really trying to sell me, that they are one of the 12 best teams in college football? But by the way, I've got questions on really how good Texas is, how good Penn State is, how good Indiana is. I mean, there are certain years, especially when the BCS first kicked in, where you were like, we don't need more than 2 this year. We don't need more than 4 this year. Where when you mention elite team, remember Oregon struggled right out of the gate as well. But Oregon seems to be the most complete team here lately. Tennessee is, I think, more of a playoff caliber team. South Carolina, I mean, you just can't overlook, albeit there is one L attributed not having your starting quarterback, and that was certainly a big deal last year with Florida State not making it. We had an undefeated team last year not make the college football playoff. Who benefited? The Alabama Crimson Tide. Now here we go, a full year later, and then all of a sudden we are debating on who's got a better resume. Resume for resume, it's no doubt, at least when you take a look at it, Alabama far superior to SMU, certainly over Clemson as well. But the formula is what it is. And we shall see. We shall see. As for the SEC commissioner, remember a couple of years ago, the SEC commissioner wanted to take his ball and run with it? Literally? Well, he kind of said that yesterday on the SEC football Zoom session.
People have asked me, what is my objective? I'd love to have 8 teams, so the conference champion, and then there's 7 at-larges. People would opine about whether that's good or not. I think that's the reality of college football. This conference, the Southeastern Conference, is unique in our rigor and our depth. And I think that has to be understood and recognized. The places in which we play, the level of competition. You may be the 8th place team. And if you look at our non-conference record against our Power 4 colleagues, we establish ourselves uniquely as a successful and a competitive conference. So I view that as a reality, and I would expect ourselves to continue to achieve at that level, maybe even beyond. And by the way, I don't view that as inconsistent with other sports, where in softball, every one of our 13 teams plays in the NCAA tournament in most of the recent years. We've had that in women's golf. I look at the projections now to have 12 SEC teams in the NCAA tournament field. Now, those numbers are 64 or 68, but I want us to achieve at the high level, and I want us to be proud of that in an unapologetic manner.
That is Commissioner Greg Sankey. Coming up on the other side, our conversation we had earlier in the week with Trevor Maddich, and then we dive into conference championship weekend with the AAC. Tulane and Army comes up at the top of the hour.
You're listening to The Drive with Wes Neighbors and Steve Moulton on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
You'll love the expanded wine selection at Liquor Express. From special occasion to everyday table wines, they've got what you need. Meet your friends at the largest tap wall in Alabama with 105 rotating selections. Then take home a growler full of your favorite or choose from our 1,000 canned or bottled beers. Need help stocking your bar or planning your party? Liquor Express has a knowledgeable professional in-house staff that can assist you with anything from your bar to the planning of your special event. Visit liquorexpress.net for tasting specials, giveaways, and classes.
Lots of wise and well-informed car buyers wait all year long for this time of year because they know year-end deals are worth the wait. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. We've got 700 Fords for you to choose from. And if you've had your eye on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, listen up. Come and see us at Woody Anderson Ford today, and you'll drive home with no payments for 90 days, plus get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months and $1,000 in bonus cash. This is good, and it bears repeating. Come get your best year-end deal on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, and you'll keep your cash for the holidays and make no payments for 90 days. You'll also get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, we're going to throw in $1,000 holiday bonus cash. The year-end is here, and we've got the deals that make it worth the wait. With your good credit, these offers end December 31st, only at Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
By now, you know about Eagle Masonry and Insulation, and maybe you know that Eagle also does landscaping and dirt work. But how about after paint work? Shower doors, shelving, and mirrors, all taken care of by Eagle, the same Eagle that takes care of all your masonry, insulation, and landscaping needs. Eagle brings the same level of expertise to all these disciplines, and they're ready to provide you with a free quote. The website is the same, insulatewitheagle.com, as is the phone number, 256-755-1556. Give them a call and see what Eagle can do for you. Eagle saves you time. Eagle saves you money.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Here in North Alabama, barbecue is a part of what makes our home so special, and great barbecue from Lawler's makes it just that much better. Since 1978, Lawler's has been serving up their delicious barbecued pork, ribs, chicken, ham, and turkey for generations of family get-togethers. Recognized as the best barbecue joint in Alabama for 2 years in a row, Lawler's is thrilled to share their award-winning barbecue for your next family meal or catered event. Order online or stop by any one of their 14 area locations. Lawler's Barbecue, cooked slow, served fast.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Emily Owen. Clear sky expected for this Friday night, but that's going to help temperatures to fall into the mid and upper 20s. Heading into our Saturday, not going to warm up a whole lot. We will see warmer temperatures than what we saw for Friday. Highs are expected to warm into the upper 40s, lower 50s. Plenty of sunshine expected all throughout the weekend until we get to about Sunday late in the afternoon. I'm Fox 54 meteorologist Emily Owen on your home for ESPN Radio 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
And now, a man who knows what you ate for breakfast.
Time now for the biggest thinker of them all.
He knows it all. He is Drew DeArmond. Listen to Drew and Scott Tyson weekday mornings. It's Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
But that trick never worked.
Class dismissed. The latest college football rankings just put out there. Alabama is 11. Reese Davis started his conversation with Ward Manuel this way.
SEC also with 4. You see the 3 bid leagues, and Notre Dame is ranked 4th. Of course, the highest they can be seeded is 5th. Joining us now is the chair of the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, Ward Manuel. So, Ward, let's start with the last team in the cluster of SEC teams in Miami. What gave Alabama the edge over the rest of that group?
Well, Reese, it's good to be with you again. What it came down to is as we evaluated both teams and looked at how they rank, obviously we think highly of both teams. One's at 11, one's at 12. But what it really came down to is Alabama is 3-1 against current top 25 teams, and Miami is 0-1. Alabama is 6-1 against teams above 500, and Miami's 4-2. Both have had some losses that weren't what they wanted out of those games. But in the last 3 games, Miami has lost twice. And so for us, in evaluating their body of work, we felt that Alabama got the edge over Miami.
I just wanted to play that before we brought in Trevor Maddich, just so he knows. I did hear that during the break, but Trevor Maddich is kind enough to join us. Trevor, your immediate reaction to Bama being 11. Thank you for hopping on, sir.
Hi there. I'm happy to join you. What a moment, right? There's one thing that championship game, then Alabama will have a victory over the SEC champion, the team that will end up, in the top 2 or 3 in the nation in the final ranking. And that would help Alabama's strength of schedule. It would help their quality wins, et cetera. It might be the best win of anybody besides Georgia over Texas twice. And so that would help Alabama. But what they have to be careful about is Clemson.
Yes.
Because if Clemson beats SMU in the ACC championship game, Clemson will go from where they are now at number 17 to a spot in the 12-team bracket. The question then becomes, will they join SMU in the 12-team bracket, or will they replace SMU in the 12-team bracket? Because right now there's one ACC team ahead of Alabama. If SMU wins, there will be one ACC team in the playoff, and nothing will change that way. If Clemson wins a close game over SMU for the ACC championship, SMU number 8 right now might stay ahead of Alabama. And if they do, and Clemson jumps up there as one of the top 5 highest-ranked conference champions, Alabama's going to drop down 1. That would put Alabama at 12. So remember this, too, that there has to be space for one more conference champion. And right now, you've got it's probable that it will be the Big 12 champ that will make it there. The highest-ranked Big 12 team right now is Arizona State. They're playing at 15. They're playing 16 Iowa State for the Big 12 championship game. And behind them is UNLV at number 20. If UNLV beats Boise State for the Mountain West, I think they'll replace Boise State in the top 10, and that won't really change anything. But that Big 12 champ has to jump up into the top 12. So consider this. Big 12 champ jumps into the top 12, drops Alabama from 11 to 12. Then if Clemson beats SMU in a close one and the committee keeps SMU in the top 12, that's when Alabama gets busted
Lucky
out of there.
13.
So Alabama needs to hope that Georgia wins to give them extra juice, and they need to hope that Clemson either loses to SMU or obliterates SMU.
Yes.
Because
or SMU wins.
Well, resume to resume, though, SMU and Miami are very comparable, albeit Miami has lost 2 out of their last 3, though, Trevor. But their 2 resumes pretty similar between SMU and the U.
They are, but I think the committee has already shown that they respect SMU more than Miami right now.
Yeah.
So with all the data points that are in there and all the strength of schedule, strength of record, and all the rest, the committee likes SMU better. Part of that is that SMU's losses over BYU, and BYU right now is number 18 in the rankings, whereas Miami's losses are to Georgia Tech and Syracuse. Neither one of them is ranked. And also Miami, you could point to SMU and say they're one of the hottest teams in the country in the second half of the season. Whereas Miami, they fell behind by 2 scores in the second half to Virginia Tech, Cal, and Duke. It had to come roaring back in order to win those games. They led Louisville by 14 in the second half, lost the lead, and had to come back and win a high-scoring track meet against Louisville. So it's not like Miami's like Indiana, where Indiana didn't play anybody that's currently ranked either, or they didn't beat anybody that's currently ranked. They lost to Ohio State. But at least Indiana obliterated almost everybody they played. They had a tight one against Michigan, but everybody else, Indiana annihilated. Miami can't say that we annihilated everybody. And so I think that Miami lost their juice when they lost 2 of the last 3 because of who they lost to, 2 unranked teams, Georgia Tech, Syracuse. And I think that because of that, Miami's not a factor in this. I mean, Miami sits there number 12 right now, and it's a 12-team playoff. But Miami essentially has no chance whatsoever to be in a 12-team playoff.
This season has just been crazy to follow. I can't imagine from a national perspective that I try my best to take a look at this as a whole, but it is hard to wrap my head around exactly what we have watched this fall in college football, Trevor.
Yeah, it's been wild. And it starts with the structure of the 12-team playoff, which allows us to talk about more teams later in the season. The 4-team playoff, we basically were talking about the same 6 or 7 usual suspects that were going to make the 4-team playoff. Everything else was largely irrelevant at the national level. With the 12-team, every region of the country, every conference pretty much, has a possibility of getting in there. And I think that's awesome. I love it. I love it that they are giving the top 5 highest ranked conference champions an automatic berth because it retains the value of conference championships instead of just homogenizing everything and obliterating the importance of conference championships at a national level. But I love it that they've done that. It allows a team like number 15 Arizona State or 16 Iowa State to still get up into the playoff. Now, there are people that say that is bad because those aren't among the 12 best teams, and maybe they're not. But it's still, you're going to lose something if you take that away.
Yeah.
If you take away the automatic berth for those conference champions, then you lose the importance of conference championships in college football. You don't lose it, but you diminish it. And this way, I think it's a better compromise. So you got the fact that we are talking about so many teams and so many regions of the country still have a chance to make the playoff.
How good
the other thing is that in the SEC especially, but in the Big Ten as well, and top conferences, you've got teams that we are accustomed at the top to being almost impregnable. I mean, just teams that you can't find much of a weakness. You'd have to nitpick to find a weakness. to now most of those teams have definite weaknesses that if you're an opponent, you can watch on tape. You can say, yeah, here's how I'm going to beat Georgia. Georgia's not very good at this and this and this, so they're inconsistent with that. Alabama's inconsistent with that and that and that, right? And Texas is unproven here, and Penn State is not that good there. And so you can point to the top teams for the most part and see clear flaws that other teams that are grouped around them can beat. And that's something that's relatively new, because in the past, the top couple teams, especially in the SEC, have seemed invulnerable, and that has added to so much chaos. And I think the cherry on top of chaos is what happened with Michigan, Ohio State. Yeah. When a 6-5 Michigan team that had already beaten Ohio State 3 straight years goes into Columbus and they beat them again. And everything that entails just adds such a delicious, chaotic, bow on top of the regular season.
So what do you think is going to happen if Ohio State doesn't win the national championship? Is the coach are they really thinking about firing him, or is that a possibility?
That's what I thought right after that happened. Right after that game finalized, I was on the set of ESPN2 doing, halftime and pregame and postgame. It's called Wraps all day Saturday, wrapping around the games. And that's the first thing I said was that Ohio State, now that they've lost to Michigan 4 years in a row, if they win the national championship, it won't erase that, but it will at least be something to hang their hat on. That's how important that Michigan game is. But now if they don't win the national championship, and especially if they get bounced out of the first round of the playoff, then you're going to find the most miserable 365 days, maybe in the history of Ohio State football. To lose to Michigan, not just the 4th time in a row, but a 5-loss Michigan team that doesn't have an offense at all, and their best 2 players, or 2 of their best players on offense, Poston Loveland, their only real threat, tight end on offense, and on defense, Will Johnson, their outstanding future first-round draft choice corner. Neither of those guys played for Michigan. And then Ohio State made mistake after mistake after mistake, including Will Howard, the quarterback for Ohio State, dropped back to pass from his own end zone, threw to the right sideline, interception. Michigan had the ball on the 2-yard line and punched it in for a touchdown. That was Michigan's only touchdown. Michigan wasn't moving the ball against Ohio State. Ohio State set them up on the 2. And that touchdown is why Michigan beat Ohio State. Just mistake after mistake after mistake that led to that win. And how miserable for Ohio State. So your question was about the coach. Ryan Day, is he on the hot seat? I think he's on the misery seat, but it's hard for me to imagine that he would be on the hot seat.
Yeah, so because what happens when you fire people now with the NIL is your team's going to get obliterated. I mean, it was bad before, but now, coach. Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, you fire the head coach and the transfer windows open up again for them. Yeah. So anybody can transfer, but you can only transfer during the window. And if you fire the head coach, it opens up a new window for that team to go ahead and just leave if they want. Look what happened to Alabama. Yeah. Look at all the great players, including Caleb Downs, who left Alabama and went to Ohio State safety when Nick Saban left. It's that part of the problem. But see, Ryan Day is an outstanding coach, but he hasn't gotten it done against Michigan in the last 4, and he hasn't gotten it done at the national level. So the question for the Buckeyes, the decision makers, is going to be, okay, he's very, very good, but we don't expect to be very, very good. We expect to be the best of the best. And on the way to winning national championships, we want to be Michigan, and Ryan Day has done neither. And if they decide to do that, okay, but then who are you going to hire? Because I don't think Nick Saban's coming out of retirement. I don't think.
You hadn't read that article? I read an article that actually said that.
Yeah. Jerry Glanville actually texted us an article that Nick Saban's on his way to Michigan.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. But there has been Mike Vrabel, the former coach of the Tennessee Titans, who was a former assistant coach and player at Ohio State, has been mentioned. So would he be an upgrade from Ryan Day? I don't know. But again, the danger for Ryan Day, if you want to look at it from that, I don't think he should be fired. That's my opinion. But if you want to look at it from the standpoint of the danger that he's in, it's that he has failed to do the 2 things that they expect: beat Michigan, win the national championship. Everything else he's done. But the two prime directives he has not done. And that's where his danger lies, if there is danger.
Especially when he got basically carte blanche to go pick and choose with the players he wanted to get. With the money, they backed him on this venture.
Yeah, very famously, Ohio State spent a fortune, tens of millions of dollars in NIL to put together this roster.
And not even playing in the Big Ten championship game now.
Right. And part of the problem, in fairness to Ohio State, is that their offensive line has been reshuffled multiple times because of injury. Their left tackle got hurt in September in the Oregon game. So they put in the backup left tackle. And the next game against Nebraska, the offense wasn't able to do much. They won that game, but they struggled on the line. And then that backup left tackle against Nebraska got hurt late in the game. So then they moved the left guard to left tackle. They put the backup center at left guard. Then the center got hurt. And so the backup center playing left guard moved over to center. They put a freshman in a left guard. And they've been trying to get this thing figured out ever since. And so that's been a real problem. And then the other problem is in the biggest moment, the quarterback that they chose in NIL, Will Howard, transfer from Kansas State, he has made some big mistakes. Now, he's done some great things. But he's made some big mistakes in critical moments. And some of those moments the Buckeyes overcame. But they couldn't overcome the one in Oregon at the end when he had 7 seconds to go and he scrambled and he slid down a second too late for them to try a game-winning field goal. Yeah. And then, of course, the 2 interceptions that he threw, one that set up Michigan at the 2-yard line and the other one was at the 17-yard line on 3rd and 7. And he threw an interception down in the red zone there and took away an opportunity for them to at least kick a field goal. So those are the plays that people will remember about their chosen NIL quarterback, Will Howard.
Trevor, I wanted to ask you about Boise State. I saw a lot of their game at Georgia Southern right out of the gate. Also watched a lot of that Nevada game later on in the season. I was not overly impressed with Boise. How good do you think the Broncos are?
I think the Broncos are outstanding where they need to be outstanding. The running game, it all, of course, rolls around Axel Genti, their great running back, and he is legitimately awesome. I mean, he averaged about 10 yards a carry, I think it was against Oregon. Anyway, he lit up Oregon in that game, and he's the reason that Oregon had to kick a walk-off field goal with 2 seconds to go to beat Boise State at home because of Genti, kept them close. Genti also is an outstanding receiver coming out of the backfield. They haven't done that as much this year as they did last year, but they can still do it when they face more stout defensive fronts. So you've got an offense that has the ability to make plays with a legitimate superstar to make those plays. But the other side of it is that the Boise defense is second in the nation with 45 sacks. They excel at getting behind the line, and that's the other thing you need to do in order to beat a team that's more talented than you are top to bottom. You need to create havoc behind the line with your defense because that's where you get turnovers without havoc. Now, Boise, if they're not getting to the quarterback, they're giving up plays down the field. So their secondary isn't nearly as good as their pass rush. But if they can get the quarterbacks, and we've seen, with teams like Ole Miss, with Georgia, with Texas, that Georgia sacked Texas quarterbacks, 7 times or something?
I believe that's
and
right.
Got all after him. So there's nobody out there except maybe Oregon that's going to be a rock protecting the passer. Maybe Notre Dame, their offensive line has performed very, very well. But, these are reasons that Boise State has a puncher's chance to win a playoff game. But then they got to win another with the same puncher's chance and then 2 more. Because remember that teams that get a first-round bye, the top 4 highest-ranked conference champions, have to win 3 games to win the national championship. Everybody else has to win 4 games. And that's one of the reasons why we're really excited talking about all these different teams making the playoff.
Yeah.
But the usual suspects will be the one that will probably win it.
So to circle back where we started here, if Georgia wins the SEC and Clemson wins the ACC, is Bama in or out, you think?
It depends on what happens with SMU Clemson. If Clemson wins the ACC, they're definitely in. The committee right now just put SMU at number 8.
That's right.
Alabama at number 11. And so Clemson will be in. The question is, will SMU drop all the way out of the top 12? If they don't, then Alabama will be out. If SMU loses to Clemson and they do drop all the way out of the top 12, Alabama will probably get that 12th seed. So the question then becomes what happens in the ACC championship game? And this is why, circling back, Alabama fans need to hope, number one, that SMU wins that game. That keeps Clemson, who's ranked number 17 now, completely out of the playoff, and it keeps one ACC team ahead of Alabama, which is the way it is right now. And if that happens, then the Big 12 champ, most likely, will end up jumping up into the top 12, and Bama will drop from 11 to 12, or they'll stay at number 12, depending on how they rank that Big 12 champ. If Clemson beats SMU in a tight one, and SMU plays a valiant game, and the committee keeps them up in the top 12, then it'll be really difficult for Alabama to stay in. Actually, it'll be about impossible for Alabama to stay in the top 12. So really, that's the big key. Now, another thing that we don't know, because they haven't really explained it all that well, and we haven't seen it, is how the committee will deal with teams losing their conference championship game. Yeah. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey has been adamant that a conference championship losing team should be treated as a reward and not a loss that they made their conference championship game. And you should not penalize a team for playing that extra game and losing it when other teams are not taking that risk. And you should not, you should make it that that's not penalized. And I think really next year, at least, what they should do is say that the loser of a conference championship game, that loss will not count in their grade for the final ranking, so that they're not penalized for it. But this year, that's not in the bylaws. So we don't know to what degree the committee will do that. The reason I mention that is if Clemson beats the tar out of SMU in the ACC championship game, that the committee is not inclined to penalize teams that lose their conference championship game, then SMU is more likely to stay in the top 12, which once again will bounce Alabama to 13 once you get the Big 12 champion.
I feel inclined to tell people Saturday night, ESPN Radio, right here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. We'll have Mark Kestisher, Kelly Stauffer, and Ian Fitzsimmons on the sidelines between SMU and Clemson right here. So that's right after the SEC championship game between Georgia and Texas.
So, Trevor, you like the 12-team playoff, correct?
I love it. I love it because it allows so much more interest on the national level in the second half of the season. Because remember, every season with the 14 playoff, we thought there were 10 or 12 teams that might be able to make it. Once we got to the beginning of November, we're talking about 6 or 7. And then when we get into late November, we're talking about five or 6, and that's it. Now we're talking about a lot more, and I think it just energizes every fan base.
Yeah, I asked you about Boise State in the month of December in the state of Alabama. So, I mean, to kind of highlight.
Who would be the 4 teams this year right now?
I mean, here's the thing.
Yeah.
That's a great question because – I'm sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
No.
Okay. So right now you've got the SEC champ, the Big Ten champ, the ACC champ are going to be the top 3 highest ranked conference champions in some order. Now there's 2 more that need to make it in, right?
Yeah.
Boise State right now sits at number 10, and the highest ranked Big 12 team playing in the Big 12 championship is at 15. And Boise State is playing a ranked team in the Mountain West. If they beat UNLV, and that's tough. UNLV can beat them. They played a close one in the regular season. Boise State won it, but UNLV was right there. So Boise State right now is the 4th highest ranked conference champion. If they win their conference championship game, then nothing will keep Boise State from being the 4th highest ranked conference champion with a bye.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you about Boise, because I just was not overly impressed with I was just looking for that wow moment. There's no doubt that Ashton Genty has given us plenty of wow moments, but at least watching those 2 full games, I need to go back and watch that UNLV game in which they won 29-24. But, boy, this season has been bananas. There's no doubt about it. And signing day is tomorrow, Trevor. So,
And then
the portal opens on Monday.
Yeah, one of Georgia's cornerbacks is entering in the portal and won't play this week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, it's crazy. And think about this too. If Boise State gets a first round bye, those first round bye teams don't get a home playoff game.
That's right.
Seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8 get a home game in the first round, and then the next round, when you activate the top 4 highest ranked conference champions who get the bye, the next round goes into the bowl system and stuff like that. So they don't get a home team. But Notre Dame at number 4 will probably be the 5th seeded team, and because they can't be the top 4 seeded team because they don't have a conference championship, they can't play for a conference championship. But somebody's going to go play a playoff game in South Bend in December. How fun is that going to be? You know, and what if Bama makes it in? What if Bama goes to South Bend to play in a playoff game in that frigid ice rink up there? How fun would that be?
You know, they act like it's just cold for the Alabama people. It's cold for everybody.
No, it's really not. It's cold for the people that live in it, that's for sure. Yeah, it gets to a point where I was up seeing friends in Grand Forks, North Dakota, which is north of Fargo, home of the University of North Dakota. So I was up seeing their coach and some other stuff. And when I ask them about their winter, they always say, I expect them to say, oh, it's not that bad. They say it's brutal. It's brutal. And it does get a point where it's bad. But anyway, so that's part of the fun of this, though, to get home playoffs in regions of the country where you have one team going to 12 teams. That'd be fun.
When we get too deep in the weeds here, I immediately think of Chevy Chase doing his Gerald Ford impersonation on SNL back in the day, believing I was told that there would be no math involved.
Unfortunately,
there's a lot of
it's math, science, and then quite a bit of art in this first year of 12-team playoff.
Yeah. It's Trevor. I can't thank you enough. It's been I always enjoy the time, but the immediate reaction I think is an appropriate one, and the knowledge you bring is second to none. And I can't thank you enough for hopping on, sir.
Listen, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on. And man, I'm rooting for Alabama to be in because I want to see what Alabama does nationally when they play at their best.
Man, they're a box of chocolates.
Well, we just need a camera on Booger because
Booger
we
looked like
all
he threw
heard
up
it.
a little bit in his mouth when they announced it. The LSU dude, right?
Well, you know, the acorn never falls that far from the tree, right? Booger's a good analyst.
Yeah,
no, he's really good.
Yeah.
We love Booger.
Really. Yeah, I try to be fair. Anyway, it's a lot of
fun to poke at the LSU guy.
Yes,
anyway,
always.
I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Lots of wise and well-informed car buyers wait all year long for this time of year because they know year-end deals are worth the wait. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford. We've got 700 Fords for you to choose from. And if you've had your eye on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, listen up. Come and see us at Woody Anderson Ford today, and you'll drive home with no payments for 90 days, plus get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months and $1,000 in bonus cash. This is good, and it bears repeating. Come get your best year-end deal on a 24 F-150, Explorer, Expedition, or Escape, and you'll keep your cash for the holidays and make no payments for 90 days. You'll also get financing as low as 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, we're going to throw in $1,000 holiday bonus cash. The year end is here, and we've got the deals that make it worth the wait. With your good credit, these offers end December 31st, only at Woody Anderson Ford. I'm Bobby White, and I hope to see you soon.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.